Hello everyone, welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc. and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc. and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc. and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel. As you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, and things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day. How goes it, Philly? How goes it? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Sorry for the delay and the little technical difficulties, but we are live and it is all good in the neighborhood. So let's get into it. Today's forecast, we're all gonna die, episode number 9. If you've not seen this before, you know this is where I basically mock the media and mock everybody having a heart attack over everything because see, I'm from the DMV area. Big government culture, big corporate culture, big great military culture. Is there anything wrong with any of those things that I just mentioned? Absolutely not. But there is a lot of people who love to, they are glued to the TV, the TV, especially the older generation when it comes to the media and hang on every single word, whether it's Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, the local news, hanging on and clinging to every single word. And then always having a heart attack over every single thing that happens in the media. So to me, I just find it to be very, very funny, on some realness. Okay. Find it to be very, very funny. So I leave it at that. But anyways, on that note, let's get into today's forecast. We're all going to die. So the biggest one that's been going off is the good old Supreme Court decision that took place recently in regards to basically getting rid of affirmative action when it comes to college admissions. Now, I'm going to read the actual definition of it all off. Whatever you feel about it is your personal opinion. I don't care. It doesn't affect me, so this is why I really don't care about it. This is why I can mock it and make fun of it. But anyways, the U.S. Supreme Court ends affirmative action in college admissions. Now, it ended. Now, in a lot of states, affirmative action already was taken away, even in places like California and various other places, way before this became a national thing. Now, at the end of the day, there's already a lot of bias. Now, is it the end of the world? No, because it wasn't the end of the world in California. It wasn't the end of the world in a lot of other states. When it comes to people, basically their race not mattering in regards to college admissions. But my personal opinion, I don't care. Number one reason, I think, especially in the Black community, I think people getting college degrees outside of being a lawyer, anything in the medical profession, information technology, and even then, you could have a doctrine, but if you don't have any certifications, you're not going to ever be able to work on any specific systems. So that's just something my IT friends can tell you that. My IT colleagues can tell you that. All right, so that's just one thing at the end of the day. Even in that world, you having a degree helps you move up into management. But most people don't even want to be a manager because most management positions is basically glorified babysitting. I know I'm not management material, and I know that my personality doesn't dictate it because I'm very black and white. Let's get to it. Let's not have a lot of fluff and have a long-winded discussion about things that have nothing to do with getting the job done. Because a lot of times when you're a supervisor, you have to deal with that. God bless the managers and supervisors. In any profession. But anyways, now will it create possibly more bias? They say yes. But at the end of the day, you have a lawsuit at Harvard and you will probably have more lawsuits at various other Ivy League schools because people who get into the legacy program of these Ivy League schools, it doesn't matter what their GPA is, it doesn't matter if they have the actual qualifications. A lot of times they're just let in. And if you don't know what a legacy is basically they're children of the parents. The children of they are the children of people who have actually attended these universities and they have prestigious background. They come from more well-to-do families or anything wrong with that. Absolutely not. And they come from a place where their families donate a lot of money to the colleges, aka and / the organizations. Now, regardless who's in the White House, governor's house, mayor's house, you live in a capitalist society. Everything's about money, whether you like it or not. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. But that's just the way the game goes. And if anybody else tells you any differently and you're buying that nonsense, then you, my friend, need to be getting a drug test. And I leave it at that. Because in every other news sphere, Twitter sphere, media outlet, people on social media, they will tell you that it's not about money. And every decision that's made in the state legislature, the federal government, corporate America, it's about that dollar. Anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. You got to be able. America is a prosperous country because of its beautiful capitalistic system, but a lot of people just don't want to look and do more research in that regard because that will require actual more work. You know what I mean? So I leave it at that. I only get the most thirstiest moments like this because I went to the gym today, so probably still a little dehydrated. But I digress. But anyways, when it boils down to it, will this have an effect on people who are attending more universities? More likely, yes. However, the point I was really trying to get at the end of the day is I think a college degree is a waste of time for most people unless you, like I said, medical, law, IT, any sort of medical IT profession. Um, excuse me. Outside of that, I don't see the validation and the need for having a college degree if it's not being treated, especially in today's world where the price of everything, regardless, for the last 10 years, the price of everything has just quadrupled. So it's not as and even a lot of employers are not asking for people to have degrees. They're asking to say, hey, what skill sets do you bring to the table? Even your big corporate tech corporations like Google and Facebook, etc., are like, hey, what skill sets do you bring to the organization? How can we really utilize you now? Because a lot of people like I think my generation was the last, us 80s babies were the last generation to be able to get a college degree in anything and still be able to get a job. But this newer generation of kids coming out of high school and coming out of college nowadays, employers like, okay, great. What skill sets do you bring to the equation? And that's why you have more organizations with paid internships because they want to more mold the bright minds of today into robust workers, robust intellectuals, but they need to be able to be molded because the school system isn't doing that. And they're not molding them to the right in the colleges. They're not molding them into necessary economic assets for these organizations, especially corporations. All right, that's one thing to take into consideration. Another thing is now I understand the issues that certain people have because at the end of the day, especially the Ivy League schools, most people are not going to go to an Ivy League school. But the thing is, what an Ivy League school offers is access. It's always because I've said it 1,000 times. Everybody else says it 1,000 times. It's not about always what you know; it's who you know. And a lot of times, people get places in this life, regardless of what industry that they work in, because of who they know because they had access to, like I always talk about, I don't want to hear nothing from a politician unless I'm hearing access to capital. Well, capital can be access to the right people all at the same time. That's why I'm going to Atlanta next month because I want to get access to the right people. I don't want to just be around, especially men that just want to talk about sports, politics, and how great they were 10 years ago. I want to be around men who are talking about investments in business. That's the kind of man talk that I like to be engaged with, but that's just me. That makes me the geek in that aspect. And you know what? I really don't care. It is what it is. So, but today's forecast, we're all going to die because affirmative action's gone. When it comes to college admissions, not so much. And to be honest with you, like I said, if you're not trying to get a job in these specific professions, then you need to be getting a skill trade. Okay. If you want to be a blue collar worker like my nephew, he's a great carpenter / electrician. He joined the military, and I think more and more young people, especially young Black people, need to join the military if you don't come from an affluent family, just so you can get access to capital and much deserved earned resources, even if you just do 3 years, i.e., get access to the VA loan, Veterans Affairs loan. Why? Because the cost of housing isn't going to get stabilized anytime soon, and if you can buy a house with 0% down and all you have to do is worry about paying the closing costs, I think it's a win-win situation. All right. Then number two, owning a business in your family, getting the V. I always talk about Veterans Affairs. I mean, people who are veterans can get access to small business loans. All right. And because a lot of times people get turned away for not being able to not having the right credentials or the right business plans. Small Business Administration will help veterans do that. That's another beautiful thing. And then if you want to go to college, it gets paid for by your service in the military. All right. I'm just going to keep or if you want to get a skilled trade, do that as well. But these are other things. These are all other things to look at as alternatives because in today's age, you need to look for the best option because if not, we live in a time frame where it's very easy for people to become bums if they don't have the right mindset and they can live in a place. And I got to see it for myself in Houston, Texas, the biggest city in the state of Texas, where there's a lot of homeless people. begging for money, and I see jobs after jobs after jobs all over the place. All right, so that's just something to take into consideration on that note. All right, so today's forecast: we're all going to die. Now we know that with remote working, a lot of commercial buildings are just going. You know, a lot of people are just saying the heck with it. That's why I believe I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. This is why the mayor of New York was clowning clowning remote workers, calling them lazy, even though these people are working from home. Because basically, once again, everything's about money. The city of Manhattan was losing money, tax revenue, because people weren't going to the city like that because they're working from home. Then the city businesses, small businesses and big businesses, were not making the amount of money because people weren't in Manhattan. Another thing is the real estate people who own real estate in Manhattan. It's not being utilized. So a lot of corporations were leaving, and a lot of people were not paying their leases, or they were just ending their lease. Once their leases ended, they rolled out because we live in a world of remote working. It is what it is. And cities will continue to suffer from this because the corporate culture has changed. It's not even going to change. It has changed. I remember I've said this 1,000 times. I said this during 2020. I said this is going to become the new norm for corporate America. Heck, in certain instances, this has become the new norm for a lot of government agencies, federal, state, and local, because it saves them money, saves them time, and they know that they have a younger workforce that are like, hey, I want some of that. Okay, they're like, hey, like when people see somebody that they're attracted to, or when people see somebody that or they see a place that they like to visit or whatnot, they're like, hey, I want some of that. Or they see some good food, I want some of that. And that's how it is in the world of work. A lot of times people want a piece of that, being able to work from home pie, especially when a lot of people, younger people, have a nomadic lifestyle, what I talked about weeks ago, where they have the opportunity to live in another state, another city, or another country, and save a lot of money and improve the quality of life all at the same time. But anyways, New York City, as always, a New York property developer explains why converting offices to apartments is so complex. Now, in New York City, it might be more complex, but one thing I can say about the DMV area, I've seen it with my own two eyes in Crystal City, in Washington, D.C., and even parts of Maryland, where a lot of buildings, and this was happening before the pandemic, it just intensified during the pandemic, a lot of office buildings, because a lot of organizations left the city before this, like I said, before the pandemic, and then the pandemic just intensified it. So a lot of organizations left these major cities, and a lot of developers have converted these former offices into apartments. That's what more and more cities are just going to be metropolises for certain fine dining, whole food stores, and nice apartments. You're not going to see as many corporate buildings in all major cities in the near future. And, it is what it is. Like I said, not the future, but the near future. All right, let's just keep it real on that aspect. But anyways, and this article was as of yesterday, on July 6th. All right. Stated, and I quote, there's a paradox facing major cities in the United States of America. Office buildings are sitting empty while housing is in short supply. This is very true. The obvious answer to this property puzzle, simply converting large offices into more apartments, is more difficult than it seems. While conversions are possible, real estate developers face a host of physical, regulatory, and financial constraints that may slow them down. In the latest episode of Odd Lots podcast, Joey Chilidi, managing director of Van Barton Group, an investment firm that specializes in New York City real estate, explains the limitations facing would-be office to residential developers. Now, before I go forward, New York City, they got some crazy, outrageous regulations. So I know that it's probably 10 times harder to do it compared to doing it in DC, compared to doing it in Virginia, and compared to doing it in Maryland. So that's one thing I can definitely say with sincerity. Article says even before the pandemic, Van Barton was transforming old offices into apartments, including the landmark 180 Water Street development that created a 573-unit apartment complex out of a 1960s office building. Now he's working on another office to apartment conversion next door at 160 Water Street. And bear in mind, during the Great Recession of 2007, 8, 10 timeframe, a lot of office buildings never fully recovered. With a lot of those jobs that were lost, a lot of these office buildings never fully recovered. And with that being said, I remember seeing offices getting, like I said earlier, getting converted into homes, or just being totally demolished and turned into something else, turned into a warehouse. Malls, great example, Landmark Mall, Alexandria, is barely basically doesn't exist anymore. You have like a few stores left, and the major parking lot is basically utilized by Amazon delivery trucks. It's a parking lot for Amazon delivery trucks. All right, at Landmark Mall, Alexandria, Virginia. So these are real life examples. But the major hurdle that's happening in New York City is number one, zoning restrictions. Number two, structural complexity. What else we got? Number three, high project costs, of course. And I believe that's it. Yeah, and high project costs, but that's just what it is. But in New York City's, all these major cities, America's had a housing shortage for a long time. So she has a lot more people coming into the country and whatnot. A lot more people overcrowd the cities. But at the end of the day, New York's governor has pledged $227 billion from the February budget proposal included property tax exemptions for landlords who agree to include affordable housing in their office conversion projects. But the biggest hurdle facing developers may be uncertainty over the future trajectory of both the broader economy and work from home itself. Pandemic era inflation and disrupted supply chains sent manufacturing and shipping costs soaring, such that at one point, developers found themselves hiring contractors to escort custom window glass as it was shipped from Spain and making in-person visits to factories in the Midwest to ensure supply could continue. And at the end of the day, New York City is New York, and it's full of well-to-do. The only, for the most part, the only working people that are there is people that, that the government is giving benefits to, whether they're legal or illegal, or people who are like some members of my family because they bought real estate way back in the day and they just passed it down from generation to generation, or you just got 15 people living in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. So, but when you think about it, all the major cities around the United States just faces hurdle, and more neighborhoods in the city or in suburbs are just being overcrowded because the cost of living is just too high. So, but is it the end of the world? I don't think so. And New York is always going to be New York. People are always going to be fascinated with New York City, and it is what it is. But is it something to lose sleep over? Not really, because I'm not going to visit New York anytime soon. I'm darn sure not going to try to live there anytime soon. So not worried about it. All right, what else do we got? All right. Today's forecast, we're all going to die. What is the deal with Canada? I'm supposed to be going to Canada at the end of this month, and I'm hoping that it's going to be there. It's still on fire. And I don't say this to be funny, but why is Canada still on fire? It's like, usually when we think of wildfires, we're thinking of California. We're not thinking of Canada, and it's like when I saw this article, I just had to go like this.
And you ain't got no slip malt liquor. You ain't keeping it real. You ain't keeping it real. What you doing up in here, boy? What you doing up in here, boy? Shit.
It's just crazy, that's all I can say about that. But Ottawa is the capital of the country, and Canada's 2023 wildfire season is unprecedented by many measures, but this is just a start. It's no understatement to say that the 2023 fire season is and will continue to be record-breaking. Michael Norton, director of the Northern Forestry Century with the Canadian Forest Service, stated this past Thursday during a technical briefing on the unfolding crisis. There are 639 acres of fires across Canada, 351 of which are out of control. Lord have mercy. The total area burned now exceeds any year on record. And I wonder if America and any other nations are helping them, trying to, get rid of this. I mean, put out the fires and whatnot. Because this has just been, because I remember when it was really bad and we were feeling it on the East Coast. And then, like I said, New York, it was the worst. And then like a week ago, we started to smell it and feel it again. So I'm just like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, am I going to be able to go to Toronto in peace? I darn sure don't want to get stuck anywhere. But so yeah, it's just a crazy thing, and hopefully they're able to put this thing out. But apparently, Canada's got this one thing in common with California. They have the wildfires. Everybody always has a heart attack over wildfires. I remember the wildfires have not been too bad in California this year. One time this year, California was having a lot of floods because they had an unprecedented amount of rain and snow. So I'm hoping, because when everybody was talking about that, I'm like, well, hey, hopefully it freaking fixed the drought issue in California, but you just never know. But anyways, all right, last but not least, before I call it a night, this was interesting. So this article was interesting. So apparently, this is how behind the times I am. And this is how much I really care. Um, Elon Musk threatens to sue Meta, aka Facebook, after rival app Threads gains traction. So I'm laughing because I'm like, okay, Elon, you can't take any. I don't care about Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, so I got nothing bad or good to say about it. I'm just like, I don't care. They're rich people. I'm just like, okay, you don't have anything better to do because now you got some competition. But they do say business is war. So, and so when you're in business at the level that these gentlemen are, you're always at war constantly. That's one of my favorite sayings from the movie Rising Sun, with starring Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery. And basically, the Japanese stated that, hey, business is war, and we don't shoot bullets at people. We write checks, we sign contracts. That's when the fire alarm goes off. But anyways, Twitter's threatening Meta with a lawsuit. So they're threatening. They haven't actually actually filed a lawsuit against Meta, aka Facebook, after the blockbuster launch of Meta's new Twitter rival, Threads. And perhaps the clearest sign yet that Twitter views the app as a competitive threat. On Wednesday, an attorney representing Twitter sent Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg a letter that accused the company of trade secret theft through the hiring of former Twitter employees. The letter was first reported by, say, Ma4, a person familiar with the matter, confirmed that the letter's authenticity to the media. The letter by Alex Shapiro, an outside lawyer for Twitter owner Elon Musk, alleged, I'm not lying about anything, alleged that Meta had engaged in systematic, willful, and unlawful misappropriation of Twitter's trade secrets and other intellectual property. In response to reports, the letter Musk tweeted, "Competition is fine, cheating is not." Well, I couldn't agree with that more. Okay, so if they're actually cheating, then hey, I don't agree with that. But this is all allegedly. This isn't factual, not yet. So I'm not going to get sued for saying that somebody did something wrong. All right, the letter goes on to say that Meta hired former Twitter employees who have improperly retained Twitter documents and electronic devices, that Meta deliberately involved these employees in developing Threads. Twitter intends to strictly enforce its intellectual property rights. Shapiro continued and demands that Meta take immediate steps to stop using any Twitter trade secrets on other highly confidential information. Meta spokesperson Andy Stone flatly dismissed the letter. No one on the Threads engineering team is a former Twitter employee. That's just not a thing, he said on Threads. In the months since Musk acquired Twitter, the $44 billion social media network has challenged by growing number of smaller micro-blogging platforms such as the centralized social network, Mastodon, and Blue Sky, an alternative backed by former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, but Twitter has not threatened either with litigation. Unlike some Twitter rivals, Threads has experienced rapid growth, with Zuckerberg reporting 30 million user signups in the app's first days. As of Thursday afternoon, Threads was the #1 free app on iOS App Store. So anyways, at the end of the day, I just heard about this Threads thing today. There's too many social media there's too many apps out there to keep up with. I mean, for me personally, I've just gotten used to utilizing various other social media apps and things of that nature. But it's just, I'm not even going to get involved with this Threads thing. I got enough. Sometimes I always say I'm social media out for the day. But either way, is this going to affect your everyday working person? Absolutely not. So today's forecast, we're all going to die. This is the end of the world. Not really. I'm just mocking it, and I leave it at that. So I find it to be hilarious. Let me know if you've seen anything that's funny out here in today's world that everybody's having a heart attack over, because at the end of the day, it's just not that serious. But anyways, on that note, hopefully you guys have a great night. It's nice to be able to knock out a nice live session real early and not start yawning and all that great stuff. But yeah, let me know if you guys have seen anything out here that you see everybody having a heart attack over, and you're just kicking back like, look, dude, it's not that serious. But to everybody else, it is. And hey, like I said, everything is alleged. What the statements that Elon Musk said against Mark Zuckerberg in regards to Meta, Twitter versus Meta, and it is what it is. So we'll see what happens and go from there. Another thing is, I know Jonathan Major's trial is set in August of next month, so we'll see what happens. Essentially, it's looking like his acting career possibly may be over with at this time. And oh yeah, before I go, the whole thing with Keke Palmer, the actress, and her baby's father, or child's father, arguing online. Once again, working people, why do you care about what these rich celebrities are doing? It's like, Lord have mercy. It's one thing when I was a teenager, I was really into what these celebrities had to say, especially when it comes to the personal life, things of that nature. But now, as a grown adult, I really don't care. But clearly, everybody else does. So it's their life. Whatever happens doesn't affect me, so I'm not worried about it. So on that note, do the great 3 things. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. And as I always say, make money moves, or you're going to live like a fool. Take care. No.
Mike, now. Don't hate the player, hate the game.